This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We are posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest Jal Sonpal. Hi Jal, how are you?
Hey Manan, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. I believe it's morning in Canada right now.
Yeah, quite early in the morning.
Right. But I'm glad we are recording this finally. So Jal, I when I saw your profile on Instagram and it was really interesting. At the same time, I was curious to know that you had written that you had won the Indian Super League with Jamshedpur. And I was like, okay, I haven't seen him on TV as a player, but why is he writing it? So, what is the secret behind that?
Right. So, I was working as the and media manager at the club.
Mm-hmm.
I was there since the club was formed back in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like a process, and it was like a donkey of the back, uh, you can say, because it was a long time coming, and we were always very close to it, but close yet so far kind of situation used to happen with us a lot. And it was my first, uh, it was my first silverware in football, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there is this thing where obviously, see, entire credit goes to the players, the coaching staff, whatever. But there is also the backroom staff that does a lot of work behind the scenes. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
equally the part of that success. However I contributed in whatever small or big way, or however people perceive. But that was one of the reasons why I like to write that on my. It's on my Instagram profile. It was there on my LinkedIn profile also for a while. But yeah.
Uh, no, but I think yeah, that's a. I mean, it's a. I believe that people who work on the behind the scenes should be equally given credit to the as much as it is given to the people who are performing on screen, right? And I think that really justifies the fact that you have written ISL champion 2016. Now, Jal, being a social media manager of such a huge club, is not an easy task. And how did you? I mean, let's just start with your introduction, who you are and what you do, and how did you get into becoming the social media manager of FC Jamshedpur?
Right. So as not just the social media manager, there were many aspects to my job. But
Mm,
I'll tell you what, I did start out as a social media manager.
mm,
So back when I was in college, I did a couple of internships in social media management and all. And
mm,
when I started my post graduation, I I was working with Mumbai FC, that used to play in the I League.
mm,
And I met my mentor for the first time. His name is Prashant Gorbole, and he was, kind enough to take the risk and hire me as a trainee at the club,
mm.
and yeah, that's when the Indian football journey in sports
Started,
management started,
yeah.
and yeah, so it started as a social media manager. In the same year, I started developing other skills as well. Then I joined
Mm,
an agency called Sports Interactive, worked with a lot of clients like Star Sports, Bundesliga, Sony, whatnot. Then the journey with Jamshedpur FC began. So yeah, it's been like that.
mm. Then you have to attend a
But
call or something.
but I no, no, sorry. I got it was an alarm. Sorry.
Acha.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, at Jamshedpur FC, I was wearing a lot of hats. Um, I started out like Jamshedpur FC started out as my client in 2017 when it was formed. We used to work obviously on digital media, and we were really critical. Sports Interactive was really critical to the fan engagement part of the club as well, because we were trying to mobilize uh, the crowd a lot via digital, as well as we used to do a few things offline as well, just to ensure the crowd comes to the stadium.
Matches.
And
Mm-hmm.
like Jamshed, there's one thing lovely about Jamshedpur: 20,000 plus people always coming, always. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a consistent number that Jamshedpur always has. Then
Mm-hmm.
when I
And
joined
when we are saying 20,000 people usually turn up, so are you talking about the home ground for Jamshedpur or in any match?
home ground, yes, home ground.
Okay.
Any match would be a bit of a stretch right now. Hopefully someday. But
So.
I didn't think India has enough football grounds with that kind of capacity to hold 20,000 away fans anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
still a far-fetched dream. Um, yeah. So when I joined Jamshedpur FC as like an employee in 2018, I drove the entire grassroots program at the club. We uh, we kickstarted 8 football schools in 8 months of me joining, and like
Mm-hmm.
it has to be some kind of record. I don't know. I've never heard of 8 football schools beginning in 8 months itself.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also working with Tata Steel Foundation, where we revived the 25 football centers we had. We developed 200 coaches in the state of Jharkhand, which lacks football coaches overall. Football
Wow.
education wasn't there before Jamshedpur FC came in. Like there were maybe 3 or 4 C license coaches at that, just 3 or 4. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how much it was lagging behind at that time. But now
Right.
it's improved a lot. It's improved a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and obviously we also. So I was also working at the academy side of things. I like I helped the club attain the 4-star rating from the AIFF, when like there's an accreditation process that happens. I also
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped in the compliance side of things with the
Okay.
AIF accreditation. I also used to help with club licensing. I also
Uh-huh.
used to help with sponsorship marketing. I used to also help
Mm.
with public relations. So that's what I'm saying. I was wearing many hats
Many
at the
hats,
club.
yeah. Right.
I
Because
was,
right off when you started, right? Like, I'm glad you corrected me on this that your role was more than a social media manager. Is it meaning that now you have like the amount of information that you have just spoken of right now? I'll have to break it down into pieces to dig deep into it. So I'll
right,
just start with the initial part of it, right? Where you said that you have done a few work with Mumbai FC in I League and everything. So my first question will be to become a social media manager or to get into this clubs of ISL, right? What is the thing that they look for in a student or who is in his bachelor's, or what do they look for in an employee? Because I don't come from that background, so I'd like to know about that.
right. So see,
Like just
it's a
just
very
just another extension to it. Do they specifically go for people with sports management degrees, or even people with BMM or BMS or BBA can become a part of that?
right. Very good question you have asked. I'll tell you why. Um, Firstly, the sports industry in India, I'm talking about
Mm,
India, it's very small. Okay,
mm,
so because it is so small, like people just know each other. It's a small network of people that keep rotating everywhere, and the influx of people coming in is very less because we already have that skill set with us. It's only a matter of time where as the sport expands, the number of employees expand. That's how it is working. So football is growing means the hiring and employment will grow. Kabaddi is growing, hiring will grow. Cricket is already
mm.
massive, but again, cricket also has its
Inner
circle of
circle
people that
kind,
we
yeah.
know. Yeah. So that is how it is. And uh, yeah, as you asked, is it necessary to do a sports management course? Not at all. I don't think it is necessary at all. If you have the ability to network with the right people, and just have this ability to call or email and get the attention of the person in front of you, then I don't see any reason why you need to do a sports management degree specifically to get into the sports industry.
mm,
Yes, it helps because by doing the sports management degree, you are, kind of getting into that network, because there'll be people who will be coming for guest lectures. I've given guest lectures myself at a few places. So you'll be getting into like you'll be speaking with people for guest lectures. I'm sure there might be networking events with the alumni or with whosoever, even the uh, dean or the lecturers in that sports management course might help you, network with other people out in the sports industry. But
mm,
if you feel like, no, I don't want to pay that amount of money, just find your own way. There are people are very approachable. It's surprising how approachable people are these days, to be honest. Like, it never
uh,
used to be like that. I'll tell you what I did. I did my sports management, I'm not denying that. But
mm,
there's this month of April, I was giving my Bachelor of Commerce exams, and you know, I used to cold call the ZTV office.
mm,
Okay. So the reason why I used to call ZTV is because Mumbai FC was owned by the SL Group, which owns ZTV, and their office was located in their building.
mm,
So I used to call the ZTV office almost 3 to 4 times a week. Like,
mm,
from April to May, I progressed from just the reception to the Mumbai FC office. It took me 1 month to break that barrier first. Then from May to June, I broke the second barrier. Someone from Mumbai FC actually picked up my call. I still remember his name is Milind. He
mm,
had picked up the call and he said, call me in a week or two. Call me back in a week or
mm,
two. I did that, and that's when, Prashant picked up my phone. I told him I'm looking for an internship or trainee kind of opportunity, and I would like to work with Mumbai FC. It's my home club. This that. I I tried to convince him with that, and he said just come for a meeting, uh,
mm,
on such and such date. And so I did that, and that's how I got it. Like, it was
mm,
2.5, 3 months of continuous persistence that
mm,
actually made me get into the industry. And I'm glad I did that, because I was parallelly, while working at Mumbai FC, I was also studying my sports management. Had I just done the sports management, I don't think I would have been where I am right now. So,
mm,
uh, yeah, that actually, it was like a trigger to get into the industry. And in fact, I
mm,
think if I'd not done my sports management, it may not have been that different, as like I would have been working at Mumbai FC anyway, right? Like, with that effort.
mm.
Maybe the only difference would have been I might not have jumped to something like a sports interactive on the agency side. I would have maybe continued at Mumbai FC and build my
Mm.
path from there. I don't know, but
Yeah,
uh,
but you eventually would have been here only, the place where you are right now.
right. So what
Right.
I'm saying, it's not necessary, but it's a
Mm,
good experience. Those who want to do sports management, I wouldn't discourage them. It's a very nice experience overall. Uh,
mm,
There are many good courses abroad as well in sports management. Now, it depends from where you do it, because you want to do it with the people who are, the people around you should be amazing. Your
mm,
cohort, your batch, whoever, the people, the lecturers, the professors, everything should be absolutely top class, or else it's not worth
mm.
doing it.
Wow, your story is totally relatable, and I have had someone with a similar story. So I have had the vice president of My Team 11, which is the fantasy cricket app. Vedant Sharma, and while I was talking to him on the podcast, he narrated us the exact same story, how he got into sports where he is right now. He would just cold call, or just go to the Rajasthan Royals center in Jaipur, and he would just every day go there, talk to the security guard, and then slowly and steady he cleared the barrier and eventually got what he wanted to do. So I think persistence is somewhat, is really important, because I think people give up yeah, very soon, in the process of wanting what they want to have, right? Like if you'd have given after probably 1 month, which is frustrating, right? If you can't clear the reception only in the it's kind of frustrating, but you continued. That's a great plus to you. I mean, of a hats off to you for doing that. Now, Jal, I think you started with this your role in this ISL or FC Jamshedpur at a very early stage when the ISL was in its infancy. Now, what was the reason behind India starting a football league of its own when we already had the I League going on?
Right. See, there was a lot of talk about this exact question. Why do you need the ISL when the I League is already there? But
Mm,
then you also have to understand how the I League was run as well. It wasn't pulling enough crowds. There were problems with broadcast. I remember there was this one entire season that was not broadcast at all. I can't remember which one, 2011 or 12. The entire season, not even on Doordarshan, like it wasn't broadcast at all. So that's where the question rises. How is I League being marketed? What is happening? Why isn't the crowd coming?
mm,
And I guess that is what triggered the birth of the ISL, because India needed a league which you know which people could believe in, and people would come to watch. And in India has two or three football pockets, I would say, like Bengal, Kerala, Goa, even Northeast now. Like Northeast
mm,
in the last decade or 15 years has done really well.
mm,
The entire all the sister states of Northeast have done really well.
mm,
So yeah, because these football pockets existed, uh, ISL also came into existence because it wanted to spread football a little bit, not
mm,
just concentrate on the. It's still like ISL actually does concentrate on those pockets a lot. You'll always see Kerala versus ATK Mohun Bagan or Kerala versus East Bengal as the first match of the season. Like continuously
mm.
for 5 years, it was Kerala versus Mohun Bagan. That was sorry, Kerala versus ATK Mohun Bagan that was happening.
Right.
So ISL does focus on that a lot, but the because ISL came into existence, there's a Mumbai City FC that came up. Thank God it came up because Mumbai FC in the I League got shut down. There's Hyderabad that is there. There is Orissa that is there. Jamshedpur, like you would have thought a team from Jamshedpur would be playing in the top tier. Uh,
Mm,
so it was kind of necessary to spread the fame of football across the country. Um,
mm,
and yeah, ISL. Uh, See, at the end of the day, the way the league runs, it's the I League, right? It's just the way I League. You have your league. Obviously, there's an additional bonus of playing the semi-finals and the final, which is actually, to be honest, a very good marketing technique, I would say, because in India, if you finish first, you qualify for the AFC Champions League or the AFC
mm,
Cup, whatever. But if you have a top four race happening to qualify for the semi-finals, it
mm,
makes things really interesting. I think this season is the top six now. That is
mm,
how the league format has changed. So it's spicing up the league. Like even if you are at the 10th place halfway through the season, you still have that chance to make it to the top six or the top four, and it does not end. The league does not end for you then and there.
mm,
So that is how, that is how it's been marketed, and it has actually managed to draw crowds. I'll take the example of Chennai and FC. uh Chennai didn't really have, like, obviously it had Premier League fans, whatever, but that cutter football crowd, like, has come in only now, like in the
mm,
past 5 6 years. What I've seen, especially because they have won two ISL titles, it's just gone through the roof. And
mm.
they had people like Materazzi coming in and giving that glamour, that hope,
Right.
that that passion that came out from the Chennai FC fans is so amazing to watch, and I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate how Chennai FC works and how whatever Abhishek Bachchan and company have done with that
Mm-hmm.
franchise. They have actually done it really expert. Even from the sponsorship side of things, you'll see so many brands coming and associating with them. They have done really well. Obviously, Kerala is a prime example of what, like how the fans, you know, are so passionate about. Like you'll see a complete social media army of Kerala Blasters just
Mm-hmm.
putting out yellow hearts everywhere, spamming your posts, coming to the games, being loud, 40-50,000 people in the Kochi stadium, so that has been the effect of ISL overall. Even Jamshedpur, obviously 20,000 plus crowd. Orissa
Mm-hmm.
hopefully will keep on developing because it's started to become a sports hub. Will keep on developing. Mumbai City FC, who would have thought City Football Group will take over a club in India, right? City
Right.
Football Group owns Mumbai City FC, so that's also one part. Hyderabad
Right.
FC did Hyderabad FC in just the third season of existence won the ISL. So and like I was seeing the crowds because of their success in the ISL last year. I saw how much attention Hyderabad FC drew, in their own city when they were having their trophy tour and everything. So it has had a massive effect on the clubs across the country. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
why ISL, that was the whole idea of ISL initially, to make the fans passionate uh
Mm-hmm. And celebrated.
and celebrate football. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
very well.
Right. Right, right. I mean, the now that you narrated it, the change has come to my, realization as well. That I League, I mean, when even I was in school, right? I went to a convent school, and it was nearby a Catholic colony. So there were people who would talk about, okay, what is that club? I mean, I forget. Just a minute. Yeah, yeah. You remember the Francis ground in Borivali, if you have
Yes.
ever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So right. So even that is a football hub, and people who would come from that area to the school, they would talk about, okay, did you know the score between these two clubs? And although local clubs they were, but they were talks, and I'm like, okay, this is nice, but the actual magnanimity of the event wasn't seen, and it only happened after the ISL. Because another reason that I could see was when the ISL had its first year, right? Probably in 2014, it had its first year, or 13 or 14, that either of those 2 years. And the hype was created in a way that, I mean, not created, it actually was true that in 2013, Atletico Madrid had won the La Liga, and the champions of Spanish Cup, owning the Kolkata club, was a huge boost to the ISL. Oh, somebody from Spain has invested in this club, and I think they are really serious about it. And I think that is where it got really more many and many eyes. Okay, okay, let's see how the standards are going to rise from now. And I mean, I do remember, I haven't been to an ISL match yet. I had the opportunity, but that's a different story where I couldn't go to. uh, but yeah, I do remember those days when the initial years of ISL, it was like really great. And it's amazing. And another thing about the thing is, I think when ISL started, right, it had a combination. So IPL was already in existence, but what IPL had was only a elimination system. Right. There was no league. But when ISL came in, I think they added both, like the league format also and the elimination format also. And that is what really was
Even
another
IPL
fact.
has the even IPL has a league format. Like, that is the
Mm,
format, that is like you have 8 teams battling each other for 14 matches, and then you have the final semi-finals. Yeah.
yeah.
IPL
So
also
yeah.
has
So the same format. Yeah, the same format as IPL. So
yes,
that was really interesting. And
right.
yeah. So I like that was it's a refresh, that what you just said.
Right.
Now.
It's like, it's giving impetus to the teams, that it's okay for if you don't finish first. You can finish fourth and you can still win the league.
Hmm.
If you are struggling, maybe you never know, first 10 matches of season, you might have only 5 points, but in the next 10 matches, you somehow win 8, 9 matches, and you are suddenly at 32 points in the top four finish. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's a very progressive model for Indian football, I would say. Ideally, football should be 20 teams playing,
Mm.
battling for the top four, because they are
Top.
battling for the Asian Champions League and AFC Cup places. That should be the
Mm.
top four battle, to be honest. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, Asian football and Indian football is not there yet. So there are like 5 or 6 countries in Asia that actually compete at the highest level, like Japan, Korea,
Mm.
Iran, Australia. Australia is part of the AFC, so Australia, and to an
Mm-hmm.
extent maybe even China, I would say, or at
Mm.
least it used to. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons why the whole format is very important.
Right. And how is the how many teams are playing in the ISL right now?
It's 11 teams. Like
It's
for the
11
past,
teams.
yeah, since 2020, when East Bengal came in, it became 11 teams.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think when I don't remember, but what club that Sunil Chetri play for before
Bangalore
coming to
FC.
I League? Bangalore FC. It was in the I League,
Oh,
right?
coming to I League.
Yeah, yeah. And before coming to ISL,
Um, he
because
was
there were a
playing.
few clubs.
He
Yeah,
was
what I
playing
mean
for
to say,
Bangalore FC.
right? What I mean to say is that a few clubs from I League were incorporated into ISL, and some
Yeah,
people
Bangalore
weren't.
FC.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bangalore FC used to play in the I League, and then in 2017, the year Jamshedpur FC came into existence, was the same year when the Bangalore franchisee was developed by the ISL, and Bangalore FC owns that franchisee.
Mm, right. That was interesting as well. And I think Sunil Chetri coming in, and I still remember the video that he had put out. Or was it for of that asking the fans to come and play, visit the stadium and watch the match?
It was, yeah, it was
So
in Mumbai. It was, um, I can't,
2017, 2018, around
I,
that year.
I, I can't recollect the year exactly,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a Tri Nations Cup or something. I can't remember the name of the
Mm-hmm.
cup exactly, but
Year, yeah.
yeah,
But I
he
think
has.
again that video was something that gave another impetus, to the public to come and visit the stadiums and watch the games.
Right, right, right,
Right.
right, right. But
Uh,
yeah, it was yeah, it actually did help a lot. Like that entire tournament got sold out after that. So
mm, it is interesting. Now, Jal, you said that you worked with Mumbai City FC as well, right?
Mhm. Mumbai FC in the I
Mumbai
League.
FC of the I League. So, what was your role in that role when you were with Mumbai FC?
Right. So I started out as, just a social media manager in my trainee period. Like I was helping social media management initially because at that time it was 2014. Social media was like
It's just
now,
growing, yeah.
yeah, it was
Huh.
just starting. Twitter, like I'm still very active on Twitter. So Twitter was one of the biggest things on social media at that time.
Mm,
Um, and if clubs weren't too active on social media, and Mumbai FC, because like Mumbai FC and to an extent Bengaluru FC were the only two active properly active clubs on social media at that time, and I was the one who made it active, like completely active.
mm,
People started noticing, okay, there is Mumbai FC as well. It's responsive. I got the profile verified as well, everything. So after a lot of fighting with Facebook and Twitter and all, and yeah, so that is how I started out at Mumbai FC. But uh, eventually, so the thing about football is, again, like if you're working as a football manager, you are a sports manager in any sport actually. You
mm,
are wearing a lot of hats. As I spoke
okay.
about my role in Jamshedpur FC. So
Mm,
that that role also grew. I was not just the social media manager. after a point, once the senior team started playing the Mumbai League and then the I League, I started looking after, content creation content creation as well as, in a public relations kind of way as well. I used to
Oh.
coordinate with media. I used
Mm.
to take care of the press conferences, and then I used to also help with organizing match days. I still remember Mumbai FC. So Mumbai FC had played 3 years away from the Cooperage Stadium. Okay,
Mm.
Mumbai FC had their home ground in Pune. So for 3 years, because Cooperage was under construction. So it was the first year back in Cooperage. The first match was a Sporting Goa, and I remember my mentor Prashant. He had one of his really good friends' wedding, and he wasn't there, and I was under a lot of pressure because like the first ever football match that I'm helping with organizing, and like my boss isn't there. So like I handled the role of, like I became the deputy chief media officer for the day. First ever match,
Mm.
and straight away put into that. Uh, there was a lot of there was a lot of chaos as well, because uh, it was the first time some people knew what to do, some people didn't know what to do. There's crowd coming in, it was almost full. Like it's a 5,000 capacity stadium, Cooperage. It was almost full at that
Mm.
point, and it could have been completely sold out had it been a night match, but it was a 5 p.m. game, I guess. So it
Mm.
it wasn't a sellout, and like it was. I loved that chaos. That entire match day organizing chaos. I absolutely loved it.
Mm.
And I had my colleague Milind, and there was this guy called Mayur. We handled the situation really well in the end, and like by the end of the season, we also got the award for the best match day organizing team in
Mm.
the I League. So I was again in at Mumbai FC. I was doing a lot of things as well. Uh, I also, uh, I won't say I initiated, but when I was about to leave in the last couple of months, like May or June 2015, at that
Mm.
time I was, helping initiate the grassroots program, not initiate, implement the grassroots program as well. Mumbai FC for the first time had started its under 15 team, which I remember we had done a little bit of coverage at the Indian football school just behind Cooperage. So
Mm.
yeah, so that is what my role at Mumbai FC encompassed. I worked again at Mumbai FC in 2016-17. Like I had a similar role, but it became like, obviously, since I was not a trainee anymore, I was a proper employee. It The responsibility became, fivefold,
More.
sixfold, what. So
Mm.
yeah, and in my second stint, we also started the Mumbai FC academy, which was catering kids from the age of 6 to 18
Mm.
at Andheri Sports Complex, where the ISL matches happen. So there was a big motivation for the kids and the parents who were really wanting their kids to become football players.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the club shut down. It got relegated and it got shut down. So that
Uh,
uh, dream kind of crashed. But and I know for a fact that after the club got relegated, I put in a lot of effort to keep the youth teams active, keep the academy active. Like I actually put in a lot of effort, because I remember we initiated trials where around 1,000 kids came, and I was getting continuous phone calls. My phone number was on the ads that were put out for the
Run.
trial. I
Uh,
was getting continuous phone calls from parents, from kids, that I'm here, I'm at Cooperage, this, that, where's the registration? And it was a complete like it would get really messy at times, and yeah, but I really worked hard. Like I'll even share an article with you from Hindustan Times about the trials happening, and you'll see the crowds of people that have come there.
What happened? So after Mumbai FC got relegated, now is Mumbai FC no more in existence, and is it only Mumbai City FC?
But it's only Mumbai City FC, like that's the only top tier club uh, in the city right now. Kenkre came into the I League last year
Hmm.
because I think one of the other teams had backed out, something like that had happened. So Kenkre came into the I League last year, but yeah, Mumbai City FC, because I League is no more the top league of the country
Hmm.
anymore. So
Hmm.
yes, you can say Mumbai City FC is the only top tier club in uh,
In Mumbai.
Indian football in
Oh,
Mumbai.
okay. Now, wow, that's quite a surprise. I know the what should I
Yeah,
put?
because
The
Mumbai
switch,
there was
the flip that you
there was
have seen, the
a,
flip that you have
there was
seen, right? Hello.
yeah so there was a time
Hmm.
in in Mumbai where there were 4 or 5 teams from Mumbai that used to participate in the I League. There was Air India, ONGC, Mumbai FC, Mahindra United.
Hmm.
I'm missing out on someone. Maybe one more team might have been there. I don't know.
Hmm.
So there were multiple teams from Mumbai playing in the I League, and it was so amazing to see that. And like I remember when I was like a teenager, I used to go to Cooperage for matches, and uh, there weren't big crowds out there, but like to watch that match used to be like competitive match used to be amazing. I still remember Mahindra United, in the 2009 2010 season, they almost won the league, and then
Hmm.
they shut down. So yeah,
Okay.
so
Wow.
that's how it's a very it used to be a very bipolar atmosphere in Indian football at that time, and I think it was like I guess Indian football got affected by the recession as well, because the I
Hmm.
League started in 2007. It was really successful for the first 2 years.
Hmm.
2009 recession hit. Whatever corporates were owning football clubs just started one by one shutting down. Air
Hmm.
India stopped playing in the I League. ONGC stopped playing in the I League. Mahindra United shut down. Mumbai FC was struggling. Obviously, the Kolkata Giants didn't have a problem, but I think some of the Goan teams started facing issues. Kerala used to have teams. Kerala team started shutting down. Viva Kerala and whatever teams were there.
Hmm.
So yeah, it did. Like even the recession affected the I League a lot, I guess. Uh, Actually, which I didn't take into account when we were talking about the ISL, why ISL was formed initially.
Hmm.
So you can, that this is also one of the reasons I would say that the recession hit the I League, and people just didn't know what to do after that. So yeah.
Mm. You rightly pointed it out that the football environment has been quite bipolar in the in India. Now my question
Right.
to you would be, now that you have seen both the phases, right? You have been with Mumbai FC that has been relegated, that has shut down. You have been with Jamshedpur that has, you have won the ISL with them. You have done so much work for them. And even with respect to the clubs that you're talking about, like Mahindra and Mahindra, these shut down. Like the league itself, I League and the previous league has shut down. Then my question to you would be, what are the telltales that when you see is that when you notice in a club, you can tell that this club is going to win the competition, or this
Right.
club is going to get relegated, or this competition is going to get shut down probably in 10 years, or this competition is going to go on for probably 4 or 5 decades, or even more than that, like a Premier League. So
Right.
what are the telltales?
So see, a very good question to ask to someone like me, because uh, like I have seen both sides of the coin,
Hmm.
where the club has been like the club has tanked as well as the club being successful. So I
Hmm.
know things, like I know what not to do, and also
Hmm.
what to do, and
Correct.
what's the right thing to do at a club. So I'll start with the uh,
Clubs. Let's start
like
with the clubs first. Yeah, and then we go to the competitions.
I'll go to the club side of things first.
Hmm.
Uh, what I saw with Jamshedpur FC in the last season, you know, obviously the team was really good. Everything was like perfect in terms of team composition. But there are some things that push you over the line to win the league. That
Mm.
and I saw how Owen Coyle, our head coach, used to motivate the players. How they used to um, like how he him and his coaching staff used to speak with the players even in the team meetings. Like each and every player used to, like, he used to motivate them so well that each and every player used to think that they're the best in the world. That
Mm.
kind of feeling, that adrenaline rush that comes in after that after that speech or after that team meeting. Like it was fabulous. So those are and obviously there were other things, the other small things as well that mattered, because the club all the clubs were in a bio bubble, in a very frustrating environment, I would say. uh, like 6 months in a bio bubble is equivalent to 6 months, no, I wouldn't say equivalent. It was like 6 months in, like 6 months in prison. Just
Mm.
that you were living in a four-star,
Better
five-star.
conditions. Ah.
Yeah, you are getting decent food compared to prison. That's the only uh, thing that was better, I would say. But it was really frustrating, and to motivate players and even the staff. I think Owen Coyle did a really good job in that manner. Even I used to feel pumped up, every time that, oh shit, okay, I must, do this, do that to ensure the team, uh, a team stays in, like, in the best, mental state. I used to go and talk to players myself, sometimes that, like, if I ever saw some player is feeling a little bit down or something, I used to just hit up a little bit of a casual conversation with them, and used to just indirectly somehow
Uh-huh.
get their mind and tell them that it's okay, whatever it is, you'll you'll manage it and you'll do really well. Like,
Mm.
I used to try that from my end as well. And overall, like, what I also observed was, this was like last season for Owen Coyle, he was successful as well, because that was his second year running into the club. It was the first time a coach of Jamshedpur FC entirely got his own team, you know,
Mm.
because he had a few players from the previous season. He let go of players he didn't want, or who didn't want to continue, whatever. And
Mm.
he got in the type of players he himself wanted, who he knew would do really well at the club and would, complement his style of play.
Okay.
So that also helped. I know your question might be that, okay, in 2017 also, like, the coach had the whoever the coach was, Steve Koppel, he had a chance to build his own team, but that was the season when the ISL drafts had happened. So it wasn't his own choice. It was whatever was being put in front of him, he had to choose.
He had to deal. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
right. So
Mm.
this is the first time a coach got entirely what he wanted as a team at Jamshedpur FC, and that also complemented his success a lot.
Mm.
And he is a fabulous coach. Oh my God! Like, I he had some kind of an aura
Mm.
around him. I don't know how else to put it. Like, everyone used to feel motivated, and he used to uh, like the entire staff, I would say, the backroom staff, the coaching staff, we all
Mm.
had a blast uh, when he was around. So it was so amazing. Like, that atmosphere itself was so positive.
Mm.
Unfortunately, like, we won the league. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the ISL final because uh, I think injuries finally caught up with us. Like, it was a very
Mm.
busy end to the season, and like, I think in the semifinals I didn't have 5 out of our 6 wingers available to play. Like,
Mm.
fortunately, that kind of uh, put a dampener to the entire thing. But it was the effort was so good at the end. Even in those semifinals, there was so much effort from the players. Like, it's
Mm.
it's like I'll never forget that. And
Never forget it.
yeah, each and every point of those 6 7 months that we were together, I not just the 6 7 months together, even before that, when the team was being formed, how we were working to promote the team on social media and whatever other mediums of communication. Social media was the biggest form of communication because of the lockdowns and whatever. So it was overall really well conducted that entire year, starting from April 2021, sorry, 2021 to like when the season started in October 2021 till March 2022. That entire 1 year panned out really well. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was just really well planned. And sometimes planning a little bit in advance for the entire
Does help.
season, it does help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, just
Sometimes
before you
impromptu
continue,
success also happens. Sorry, sometimes impromptu success also happens. Not
ah,
denying that, but this kind of planning definitely, it was a flow of events that led to that success.
right. Before we move to the Mumbai FC, just a few questions about this. When you said that the coach of FC, Jamshedpur, was quite motivating to his players, now how would you define motivation the way he did it? Was he like brutally honest with his players that okay, these are the mistakes that you are doing, however, it can be improved, or was it just pumping them to be, like you said, giving adrenaline rushes which would last only during the match?
No, no, it was a mixture of both actually.
Mm,
Like there was a lot of honesty and transparency between the players and the coach. About the coach Owen was very clear about what he wanted. Owen and Sandy, both of them, used
mm,
to drive the entire uh, training sessions and the video sessions that were there, and they were very clear about what they wanted. They used to take help of Noel Wilson, who was also the assistant coach, and he used to communicate a lot with the Indian players and on what to, and with Adrian Dias as well, who was the strength and conditioning. They were very transparent on what the coach wants and how they can achieve, how the players can achieve to get there. Even
mm,
during video analysis, I've not been through too many sessions of video analysis, but I used to see how I used to see how Sandy Stewart was the assistant coach as well. So he used to be very clear with the players about what he was doing, what he could do, and what he should not do. So and the players used to understand. That's the best part about it. Players used to understand what they're trying to say. Even our
mm,
video analyst, if there was sometimes if language is a barrier, so our video analyst Gaurav Khilari or the assistant coach Noel Wilson or Adrian Dias, our strength and conditioning coach, they all used to contribute in little amounts and used to try to explain what the coach is trying to say. So overall, it was
mm,
very good team effort in that manner. And it was very transparent. Like there was 100% honesty between the coaching staff and the players. Even the players, if they felt they are not comfortable with something or they had a point to make, they used to do that. Uh, and that's how any healthy relationship works. Even if you're a husband and wife, and if you don't challenge each other much, it becomes a problem. So because the players and coach used to challenge each other uh, a lot, that actually created a very healthy environment between the coaching staff and the players. And uh, because sometimes players have issues which they can't immediately talk about, but it has to be brought out of them.
mm,
So that was something that was really good about the whole atmosphere. I really like that. Yeah,
mm,
I
mm,
think that's
mm.
one of the biggest reasons why the players could execute exactly what the game plan was used to be.
Right. And when you're talking about this phase of Jamshedpur, you're talking about the year that you guys won, or the this
No,
year that you
the
talked about, the recent one.
we won it recently. We won it last year.
Okay, you won it recently also.
Yeah, only we
Oh,
won it recently in 2021-22.
okay, okay, okay. Got it. Right. So that was about how a team succeeds in a competition, right? That you have already told. How about the team that you work with, like Mumbai FC, which got relegated? What are the things that they did, which you could see that this club is going to crash?
It's very difficult to start where,
Hmm.
um,
I'll be, I'll just make it very much clear about my question that well, let's not dig into the politics that might be the cause of a fall or
yeah,
anything,
that
which
that
is
wasn't the cause
nothing.
anyway.
Uh,
No, no, no. Um,
if you could
where
say, I mean, ऐसा मत करो कि ये जब वीडियो बाहर आएगा
no,
and
no,
then
no, no,
people listen to it.
no, no. That's all right. Uh, See, it wasn't something that's to be hidden anyway. So, um, yeah, there were certain management related issues, I would say, that didn't, uh, like that used to cause delays in decisions, and uh, like there were certain things that should have been approved of that wouldn't get approved, and how, like, I'm trying to put it in the most politically correct way. uh, yeah, it's very difficult to do
I
this.
think I've put you in a tough spot.
I didn't realize it would be this difficult, but yeah. So overall, like, everything used to be very very last minute, I would say. Each and every
Hmm.
decision used to get delayed till like the last minute. Unfortunately, like, I remember Prashant, Milind, everyone used to get very frustrated about certain things,
Hmm.
uh, about how the club used to be run, and we tried our best. I would say we did put in a very good effort. Like, I'm still proud of the work that I did there, because I know till the last minute, till the last breath I had at the club, I know I tried my best, to save it. That's what I told you about. Like, I tried to keep the youth teams active so that, there's a little hope. Okay, maybe because the youth teams are there, the
Hmm.
the owners might say, oh, all right, we may not play in the I League, but we'll at least continue the club in certain
Hmm.
ways with the academy and with the youth teams. We'll try to participate, and then maybe in the future, whenever they want to resume footballing activities, they would.
Hmm.
So yeah, but unfortunately, the decision, and I think this was a long time coming, because see, I spoke about the recession, right? Mumbai FC. I was a kid at that time. I wasn't even working with Mumbai FC when the recession
Hmm.
had come about in 2009, 2008, 9. I think that affected the club a lot in many ways, and it was kind of a 5 6 year build up that happened, and then eventually, in the 10th year of its existence, it just shut. And obviously, from the coaching side of things as well, uh, there were a lot of problems. So I saw how I spoke about the transparency between the players and the coaching staff, that kind of lacked back
Yeah, over here.
uh,
Hmm.
at Mumbai FC.
Hmm.
I wouldn't talk much about it, but there were issues out there, and it didn't go down well. The coach got sacked. The new coach who came in, Oscar Bruzon, he's a very successful coach right now in Bangladesh with Basundhara Kings, and he's actually a good coach. But he had come in at a situation where there were 4 matches left, and he had to save the club from relegation. It can't happen.
That's
Like
it can't be
that
done, right?
the decision of sacking the coach, the previous coach, was also delayed. You know, so there are many problems like that that used to happen, and at the end, it was just an inevitable thing that the club, just shut. It was like it might have happened had Mumbai FC not been relegated that year. I feel the club would have shut maybe 2 3 years later in whatever way. I'm
Hmm.
very sure that would have happened. It
Hmm.
just happened earlier. That's it. It just got relegated and happened.
Wow. So these are the things that you notice that, which has to be, which are the telltales that,
Exactly.
either a club is going to succeed or it is going to get relegated, right?
As I said, like, it was an inevitable. Maybe 3 4 years down the line, it
Hmm.
it would have happened. It just happened earlier. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it was a long time coming. Like, it was probably 7 8 years in the making already. So
Got it. Now, Chal, I think, I mean, this is a silly question to ask. I don't know, but when you were the social media manager, uh, what of Jamshedpur I'm talking about. So, what social media platforms that you handle, and since you were uh, a social media manager, did you ever get a chance to like you know meet with the players or spend a day with the players like that? ऐसा कभी कुछ हुआ था?
Yeah, I was there with the players all the time.
Full
So
time.
yeah, so I'll tell you what.
I so
From
just before you again start. I asked this because I have noticed on LinkedIn that there are a few profiles that say that photographer at U Mumbai, photographer at the XYZ club or any for Kabaddi or ISL. So I thought that the photographers are different who click the photos and videos and of the players practicing and everything, and they
yeah,
send it to the social media manager, and that is how you guys operate. That is what I thought.
no, 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 no. So I'll tell you how it used to work. See, as I said, I was not just the social media manager, to be honest. So
Hmm.
we had an agency that used to work and do our social media management for us. So
Okay.
I was the media and marketing manager, and I was, liaising with the social media agency to, you know, so whatever content used to be there, obviously the photographer, the videographer used to share the content to directly to
Hmm.
the agents via me, and I was more into the planning part of things than the implementation. So
Uh,
in the past 5 years, so I obviously I started out as a digital media manager when I was working with the agency for Jamshedpur FC, but I eventually grew into the role and I became like when you progress, yeah, like when you get promoted a couple of levels up from associate to manager, you go from execution to planning, you know.
hmm.
So execution is after that done by your agency or your associates.
Hmm.
I shifted to the planning part of things after a while. Yeah, so
Okay.
that is what I was doing at Jamshedpur FC. So we used to plan a lot about what to do with social media. I used to give approvals. I used to ideate with the team. We used to come up with creative methods on what needs to be done, what can be done, what shouldn't be done.
Hmm.
Um, and I used to have meetings with the social media agency, like obviously one review a month, and almost every day we used to be on call for like 1 or 2 hours, speaking of what has to go up in the week or in the day or whatever. And
That's ridiculous. Hmm.
obviously I was working very closely with the first team, so I was handling a little bit of first team operations as well, like logistics and stuff. So I used to, obviously I had to be with the team all the time,
Hmm.
and yeah, because I was with the team I could create a little bit more content as well. And
Correct.
yeah, the only time maybe I was not completely with the team all the time was when I was managing the grassroots program.
Hmm.
That is, I was not managing social media much at that point. I used to contribute a lot, but it used to be from the office itself. So yeah, so when the grassroots program was happening, I was away from the first team. I was not that involved. I used to take care of the entertainment part of the match day organization at that time, and
Oh,
again, that didn't involve me, interacting with the players much, and it was more of match day organizing at that point. So yeah, that is how it
that's
was.
and for this, you were based in Jamshedpur or like I don't know where
Jamshed,
these players practice.
no,
So Jamshedpur only.
Jamshedpur. Yes,
Okay, okay.
Jamshedpur.
So you made a move from Mumbai to Jamshedpur to just for your work.
Yep.
Wow. Now, Jal, uh, you have spoken multiple times about the youth program for both the clubs, and now that's something that so like somebody who wants to stay, succeed or pass on the legacy, that is really important. Like although the ISL is quite young, right? But even like if people are investing in the youth, it is a telltale that people are looking for a 4 or 5 decades worth of success. So, what is your role that you played at Jamshedpur, that you set up the youth schools, as I'm saying it correctly? Like, how did it start? When did FC Jamshedpur give it a thought? Okay, it's time that we start investing in the youth as well, so that we can scout for the talent, and then these players, these young people can play for us in the future.
Right. So see, firstly, Jamshedpur FC is owned by the Tatas, okay, Tata Steel
Mm,
specific, and Tata Steel always has been, like Tata Football Academy, if you've heard of it. It's
mm,
been in existence since the late 1980s. Okay,
okay.
so they have always invested in youth development. It's just that with Jamshedpur FC coming in, the academy got a backward and a forward integration. Forward integration was, Jamshedpur FC has its B team and its senior team. So the academy graduates had, a path up, like
Mm,
to go to immediately after they finish their after they graduate from Tata Football Academy.
mm,
The backward integration was the grassroots part. So the academy had players from the age of 15 to 18. But what about players younger than that, right? So that is where Jamshedpur FC's main vision about football came into existence. Tata Steel's vision came into existence, where they wanted, to engage people from the age of 4 years old to 15 years old. Yeah, so Tata Steel always had the Tata Steel and Jamshedpur FC all had the vision of grassroots football since the beginning itself, from 2017 when the club was formed. So that vision was there since the beginning, and it was just a case of implementing the idea that was there. Uh, uh, Obviously, not just implementing, planning and then implementing the idea. So when I joined as a full-time employee at Jamshedpur FC in 2018, that's when we started, planning on how we can go about things and how we can run the football schools and everything. We drew a budget. Because Jamshedpur is not like, it's a very different city to Mumbai. Like, people in Mumbai can probably afford thousands and thousands of rupees on football coaching, but Jamshedpur as a city does not have that high as a higher disposable income to themselves. So,
mm.
uh, like, our coaching fee was 350 rupees per month. That's $5 a month, $5 a month. Less than that, actually, $4 a month. That's crazy, right? Yeah.
That's indeed crazy.
Exactly, but like that is how we used to, like, we didn't really have a choice there. We had to keep the fees low so that participation can be high. We were at a break even point. We Even with that, like, even though our fees were so low, we were still at a break even point because of the number of kids that were playing under the program. So that's where we were successful as well. We managed 8 football schools. We planned uh, 8 football schools within a year of the program initial. So the program was initiated in July 2018, and within 1 year itself, like, manage 8 football schools. We worked with Tata Steel Foundation on the 25 football centers that were inactive before that. We developed coaches. 200 coaches were developed to give training on a part-time basis. We hired all the coaches on a part-time basis to give coaching to the thousands of kids that were there. There were, in the 8 football schools in Jamshedpur, there were around 1,000 kids, and in the other 25 centers, around 2,500 kids were training across
No.
the Jharkhand region. So a cumulative of maybe 3,000 plus kids were 3,000
Mhm.
plus kids were training in the entire Jharkhand region. A place where
Mm.
football is a passion, but there was no professional training available to the kids. So that was a
Mm.
big up in those, and this is all before COVID hit us, obviously. Um,
Mm.
Obviously, yeah, like, because of COVID, uh, I think the club has to start from scratch again, I
Scratch.
guess. Yeah,
Mm.
but because there's a 2 year gap now that has come about into being. I'm not sure what they're doing now, because I've not really been
Been in
able
touch.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, batch because of my course and everything. But
Right.
yeah, I'm sure they like I'm sure it will pick up again. Like that
Hmm.
the people who are handling who are there at the club are more than capable of getting back on
Doing it.
track. Yeah.
When you say that you set up 8 schools and 25 institutions, what is the exact difference between these two in terms of infrastructure?
Yeah. So the football schools basically were a tie-up with the schools in the city.
Okay.
So the club used to because the infrastructure, the football grounds and everything, you know, the the best um, the best institution to work with in that framework was the schools in the city. Because they had that infrastructure. Even and grassroots football does not require big, massive football grounds. Okay, it's just a small space. Even you know, let's say a one-bedroom apartment, that size is enough to have coaching for maybe 10 kids of 10 6-year-old kids.
Okay.
So
Ah,
yeah, so that's how that was the thought process that even if the infrastructure is not massive, you can still manage coaching. Mine was an exaggeration. One bedroom apartment
yeah,
size
yeah,
is
but
an
I
exaggeration.
understand it's like a
Lot.
turf that can hold 5-on-5 match.
Yeah, you can say that. Even that much space is enough to do the football coaching. Jamshedpur has unlimited infrastructure to initiate football coaching. Because that city is built in that way. So that was our plan to tie up with schools, and schools obviously also because the kids are there. Yeah. The 4 to 12-year-olds that we were targeting all were in schools, and it was very easy for them. Like they can come for a morning session
Hmm.
and then go to school and then come for the evening football session. Like right there in your school itself,
In
you
yes.
had
Hmm.
football coaching happening. The plan obviously was to reach out to all schools that have football grounds and infrastructure, and start our own football centers as well within the city, where common centers where if a certain school does not have infrastructure, they can come and play there.
Hmm.
That was in the direction we were going before COVID. And yeah, talking about the difference between the football center and the football school. So I told you how the football school works. Football centers, why we used to call them football training centers is because obviously that's how Tata Steel Foundation named them, firstly. And
Okay.
the difference was that it was not just limited to 4 to 12-year age group, it was also went till the age of 18 out there. You know,
Okay.
and there was also the factor that these centers were basically in the rural areas of India, sorry, rural areas of Jharkhand specifically,
Hmm.
where there was no access to like I remember this place called Potka, and there's barely any network there on my phone. So it was in very remote locations of Jharkhand that these football schools, football centers were there. So and the football centers were completely, not for profit thing. Like it wasn't a business; it was just helping,
Students
poor
grow
rural,
football.
yeah,
Oh.
rural and poor kids just have the opportunity to play.
Hmm.
And the football school structure was, pay and play. Um, but even that fees was like really less. 3 rupees a month is like unbelievable. I don't even know how we managed to get a break even, to be honest. Like how, like thankfully there were enough kids that like we had targeted around 500 kids in 8 football schools. The eventual number we reached was 1,000.
Wow.
So yeah, and we had planned in a way where we knew the first 2 or 3 years would be loss bearing years, and
Hmm.
after that is when we break even. But we broke even immediately within a year itself. So that was kind of like a success story for us.
That's an amazing story. Now, when the students would come to play football for training, so since it is a remote area, that's why I'm asking that. Did they have all the equipments like studs, the shin pads, stockings, and everything, or
Yeah.
did they like canvas shoes or something like that?
For football school, for the football centers in the rural
Hmm.
areas, Tata Steel Foundation used to provide a lot of things to the students. In the football schools, it was a bit different. We used to provide the jersey and the shorts and everything, and the stockings and everything. Football shoes wasn't part of the deal. Like football shoes had to be bought by the kids itself. We used to provide a lot of training equipment, like modern training equipment that can be used for football coaching. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was part of the entire thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just one last question before we end this. Football has never been seen as a full-time career in India. Okay, for the majority of us. Not that I'm saying that people don't have a career in it. Now, for you to establish a grassroots program in a city like Jamshedpur, uh, so the students who came to your schools and the institutions, did they already have that vision to become a professional footballer after years of working with you, or was it more of a hobby pursuing, and the parents would dictate what they would pursue?
I'm glad you brought the parents part of it into play, because at 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't like a kid does not know what they want to do. I wanted to become an astronaut when I was like 8 or 9 years old. So that's how it is, right? Like
Mm,
those are the kind of things you think. I had a friend who wanted to become a train driver. So so yeah, that is how it is when you're young. So you don't know what you want to do. So that's where the parents come into play. uh, I'm not saying parents probably got them all in the vision of कि हाँ मेरा बच्चा या बच्ची football player बन जाएंगे. It wasn't like that, but uh, basically it's also a good exercise to have. Football is a good way of living life as well. And it provides a lot of opportunities to learn, just the way you learn in school, like just the way you learn in nursery, KG. That is how the entire football program is also for, even for, so the 4-year-old kids are not playing competitively, they are playing for fun. 4 from the age of 4 to 8, it's more fun. Then from the age of 8 to 10, they learn the laws of, like, till the age of 8 they understand the laws of the game. From 8 to 10 they start implementing the laws of the game by a few small sided matches and
mm,
everything. From the ages of 10 to 12 they start competing a little bit in the baby leagues and everything. And when they're 12, like, they qualify, like they know enough play in an under 13 team. So that is how the progressive model of football is, that we explain the parents this is how it is. It does not mean your kid has to become a football player, but maybe if he or she has the skill to play football, you never know in the future what might happen. And talent is something that does not just it can't be discovered naturally.
mm.
You need to do certain things to know that you have the talent. Like, you need to play football to understand you have the talent for football. You need to learn accounting to know, okay, I know accounting. You need to learn how to make podcasts to know, yeah, I'm good at podcasts.
Correct.
So that is how it is. You just can't say कि नहीं मेरा बच्चा फुटबॉल प्लेयर ही बनेगा. Like that's what they're going to do.
Mm,
That's not how it works. It has to be like it has to be a 360-degree model overall. Like, you have to try various things in life to understand where your aptitude lies in the end. And
correct.
that's what we're trying to explain the parents. It's not necessary your kid will become a football player, but there is a chance they could, right? So
Mm,
train them, let them have their fun as well, and we'll see what the future holds.
right. Wow. I mean, that I think that's how talent. You rightly pointed it out that that's how talents are discovered. I mean, I have even my brother, right? He's a really good footballer. He was in the school team and college team and etc. etc. He wanted to become a footballer when we were in Mumbai, and he was moving in that direction. But I don't know. It's like I'm going to be honest. He was putting in the hard work, right? But there was no vision or like a long term prospect that could be visualized by either of us, like even me telling him something or he seeing something else. So eventually he had to leave it, but he's at a very good place right now. But and the place where he used to go for training was, I could see the group over there too. Like it was an academy. My brother used to go to this academy, and I could see the happiness on the kids' face who would come there to play, and they would put in the effort after school and everything. So that was really inspiring to see them also. Because even when I was in school, I was a good football player. I was a defender. I was in the junior college team and school team and everything. But I knew that I don't want to pursue it as a long term career or anything. So I knew when to
Correct.
put the full stop. But yeah, football is really a great exercise, and people should
Absolutely.
pursue it.
100%.
Mm,
I think
yeah,
as much as you can, you should try. Yeah. Like
yeah.
you just explore your option. I'm not just talking about football. There are many things one can do overall. So, like, my message to the parents is try to explore what your kids want, like what your kids
Mm,
can do. You'll eventually discover where their aptitude lies. It can be academics, it can be co-curricular, sports, whatever. So,
right. Jel, I think this has been a great conversation
oh, absolutely,
in
I
terms of
loved it.
footballing in India, and in your work itself that you initiated and established so many schools in Jamshedpur, which is like you giving it back to the society. That's
Yeah,
quite selfless of you to do that at such an early age. And I'm glad that we could record this episode with you today.
absolutely. I'm really glad we could do this. It was really fun. Yep.